QE has already had a significant impact, but that's why I'm worried. We've already had a set of positive developments, and the economic forecasts are pretty dismal from here. And the kinds of policies we're seeing are already built into those forecasts. So I don't think we should make the mistake of supposing that the situation in Europe is in hand. And I think I am for structural reform too, but I just want everybody to think about what I find to be one of the most surprising global economic facts when I look at it, because it's quite different from the conventional wisdom. Take men between the ages of 25 and 54. And I choose that group because there's a pretty strong expectation in most societies that they'll all be working. And ask yourself about the non-employment rate of men 25 to 54. In the dynamic, flexible United States, it is several percentage points higher than it is non-employment rate than it is in France, with all of France's many, many rigidities. And that tells us something about the magnitude of the human capital issues that the United States faces. And it tells me that we can't, and it tells us something about the consequences, because the coming of technology is probably more advanced in the United States. And it tells me that we can't be completely serene that if we just have flexibilizing reform, all will be well, which is why I come back to the central importance of demand. And I would suggest that there's a very basic idea that Keynes had that has largely eluded Europe's largest economic power. And that is what Keynes called the fallacy of composition, which I would explain this way. If anybody in this audience stands up, they will see better. If everyone in this audience stands up, no one will see better, and everyone will be less comfortable. If any one country saves more, or any one bank hoards capital, it will strengthen its position. But if all countries save more, there will be less spending, which will mean less income, which will mean less spending, and the situation will not get better. If all banks simultaneously cut back on their lending, the result will be an across-the-board reduction in asset prices, and ironically, they will all end up with less capital, not with more capital, once that works through. And it is the failure to recognize that a one-off model that worked to produce export-led growth for Germany in the early part of the decade, when applied collectively, is like everybody stands up. That is and leads to an outcome that's worse for everyone. It is the failure of generalization and the failure of the error of assuming that a strategy that worked for one once, when applied universally, will work. That is the central error that is driving much of European economic thought. And as long as it continues to drive European economic thought, the prospects for economic success in Europe are going to be very limited.